If you needed an example of the two-tier justice system that we have here in the United States, Mendocino County would be the perfect example of that. In fact, they just use something known as a new restitution program. And what they do is they allow people who have been charged with felony marijuana charges to basically pay their way out of that felony and have that charge lessened to a misdemeanor. So let me give you the specific details. And this is actually an idea that was pushed by the district attorney in Mendocino County. His name is David Eyster. So Mendocino County allows certain marijuana offenders to give the cops some money, $50 per pot plant or $500 per pound of product, in order to avoid prison time and get straight probation. The police may also take the grower's property in the name of asset forfeiture to sweeten the deal for the police and prosecutors. The cops took a whopping $4.4 million in cash and goods in 2013 in Mendocino, and restitution payments brought in $3.7 million since 2011. Yeah. So if you ever needed an example of why the war on drugs continues, this is the example right here. They don't give a shit at all about rehabilitating people. They don't care about abuse. They don't care about addiction. They don't care about your well-being. What they care about is making money. And in this case, it adds insult to injury, because if you're wealthy enough, hey, you know what? You don't have to worry about that felony. Just pay up and shut up. But if you're poor, you're going to serve time behind bars. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's times like these when I wish that John Edwards wasn't such a massive douchebag, because he got us to start talking about the idea of two Americas, that we're not being treated fairly, like there are different standards for different groups of people, and this is a great example of it. Unfortunately, that message was sidelined by his, personal proclivities and things like that. And look, when you read into the history of why this developed, it sort of makes sense. They had so many cases that they were trying to prosecute that they needed to sort of weed out some of them. And so they decided to do this. But it definitely doesn't seem like that should be constitutional to make it a set fee. I've never even liked it in the case of like parking tickets and stuff like that. I think it would make more sense if we were to have a system like they have, I believe, in Germany or some other European country, where it's variable and it's based on your income, like speeding tickets. Because if you fine one person $50 and he makes $10,000 a year, that has no effect whatsoever on a person who has $1 million, so he can speed all he wants. So, okay, if you're rich, then charge them with $100,000 to get it knocked down if they want. Or else it is setting up a completely unjust system of justice for different Americans.
Absolutely, and we've already seen that when it comes to criminal charges, like, I don't know, driving drunk, hitting 4 people on the side of the road and killing them. If you have the money and if you have the proper defense, you can get your way out of that, and you don't have to serve any jail time. And of course, I'm referring to the 16-year-old in Texas who did that. No jail time for him because, hey, it's affluenza. And in this case, let's totally bypass the whole affluenza argument. Let's just say what it is. If you're wealthy, you get to get out of it. That's how it works. And also, going back to the whole issue that Mendocino County had, yes, they had a huge issue with marijuana possession, marijuana trafficking, marijuana growing, and their way of handling overcrowded prisons is to have this restitution program. And our way of handling it countrywide is to create for-profit prisons that incentivizes more and more people to support the war on drugs. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to know that our money goes toward this, okay? And our resources, our police enforcement, everyone is focusing on something so stupid when it doesn't lead to violent crime at all.
So that is one solution. What they have, one solution to having too many people smoking pot that they have to investigate. Can you come up with another way that you could weed out some of those cases? Perhaps by not making it a crime in the first place? Yeah. But I do have one idea, and this is going to sound a little bit crazy, but as I was reading about this, it got me to thinking. We as liberals generally, I would say, I think I can speak for you and say that we are in favor of marijuana legalization. Yes. Not just for medical use, but just legalize it in the same way that you can smoke cigarettes, you can drink alcohol. And I think that we can perhaps use this in a similar way that anti-abortion activists have used to shut down abortion. They don't try to pass an amendment to the Constitution. What they do is they go into states and they pass laws saying that abortion clinics have to have ceilings that are 75 inches tall or door jambs that weigh 5 pounds. Like things that make it effectively impossible to have abortion. Well, if it's legal to eliminate the legal penalty for having marijuana for paying $50 per plant, $500 per pound of product, okay, why don't we make it 50 cents? Or 5 cents. You hand over a nickel and it's no longer illegal. I think we should push for replacing the chiefs of police in major cities like LA, Chicago, Detroit, New York, and then make it effectively free to smoke marijuana.
Yeah.
Maybe that's crazy, but I think it's clever.
Yeah. It's It's a frustrating thing that we continue to focus on, and thankfully there is a little progress when it comes to the prohibition on marijuana, but it goes way beyond marijuana, guys. It goes way beyond what we're seeing in Washington and in Colorado. We need to focus on legalizing it because I genuinely want to help people. I don't want to put them behind bars. I don't want to put more poor people behind bars. I don't want them to have to deal with more legal fees. If you genuinely care about people that are addicted to hardcore drugs, you legalize it, you regulate it, and you educate. That's the way that you do it. You don't throw them behind bars and criminalize them.